didn't see you come in there. Oh, you caught me off guard. I was just writing down our antagonists for this. Wait, what's our intro? It's been so long, Heather. I think it's been a year since we've done this.
It was last year, but it was like a month
last
ago.
Year.
A month ago. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Hello, welcome to Drunk Doctor Who. I'm Hatter, this is Holden.
Episode
139.
Wherein we discuss the
139th story of Doctor Who.
Vengeance
On Varos.
Varos.
Okay, so... Alright, today is January 4th, 2024. If you are keen on calendaring, you'll notice this is a Thursday, which is not our normal day to do this. However, Monday...
Some people could do that in their head. You're like, January 2nd, 1932, and they're like, Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't know how you...
I can do it.
How do they do that?
I can do it on years close to this one, but I can't do it that far away.
Yeah.
I keep trying to keep track of the leap years, get you.
Yeah.
Alright, so, anyway, this is the second serial of the first full season of the Sixth Doctor. Season 22. Season 22. No, season 20. No, it's not 23, it's 22, isn't it?
22.
I think it's season 22.
Sounds right.
Are we in
23?
No, season 22, I'm correct. Alright. So then 23 finishes off this Doctor, and then 24, 25, and 26 are the Seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy.
Oh, so we're already... We don't have a lot of call-in.
Only 2 seasons.
Only 2 seasons?
Yep.
That's not many?
Alright.
Compared to Baker.
Well, 7, yeah. Okay, so anyway.
The good Baker.
What are you drinking today?
Do you think, like, Colin just, like, he gets on Reddit and sees everyone comparing the 2 Bakers and he just goes, oh.
Well, he's not the shortest lived Doctor. There are 3 Doctors who have less screen time than he did.
Well, there's one that was just animated for, what, 1 season? But then there's also...
No, not
like
animated.
spin-off Doctors, like the War Doctor. Wasn't it Scream of the Chocolate?
We're
that's not
talking about numbered Doctors. We're talking about numbered Doctors, right?
Okay. So
I'm drinking Russian Standard.
There's a numbered Doctor that's
vodka.
shorter than 2 seasons?
There's 3 of them.
And
you're... Hold on. I'm drinking Russian Standard, and you're drinking White Claw hard seltzer.
Claw, baby. Sponsored by...
No, we're not sponsored by anybody. Although I love it.
Sponsored by nobody. So he was only around for 1 season, right?
1 season of
so
like 13 episodes, and so that's shorter than the 2 seasons here in terms of screen time.
I'm good at this.
Actually,
I don't go online.
Actually,
and read
it was there for
about
1 series. They call them
True.
series now.
Like to this day, you know how all the...
You're still avoiding all that stuff.
I don't know if I'm...
Thank you.
Right, yeah, no, but you know how like the internet tracks you and all of your interests? At some point, like Google and YouTube put together me and Doctor Who, and they're like, this guy likes Doctor Who because I subscribe to our channel and I watch our podcast. Yeah. And it's always recommending me this stuff. I'm like,
you're like, no. Remove.
Don't recommend this channel.
Alright.
It's good. I knew that.
The other Doctor,
McGann. He's a short one, right?
1 episode, just the TV movie.
1 episode? Oh, the TV movie. That's...
And to be fair, 1 mini-sode. So he shows up twice as the lead guy, and then he shows up 1 more time as a guardian of the chasm.
Chasm. As the British would say.
Probably. All right. And the 14th Doctor has thus far...
He's done.
No. He looks exactly like the 10th Doctor, but older. But yeah, he's not on there. But yeah, he only has the 3 episodes. And now he's going off to live.
So, canonically, he's the 14th Doctor, but he has the same face as the
Oh, no, yeah, it's
10th?
Yeah, he's both the 10th and the 14th Doctor.
So it's a Is he the same Doctor or just the same face, but like a different Doctor?
Same body, different numbered Doctor.
Different number.
But the same actor, just in the same way there's one president who was like the 24th and 26th president.
Is it like he regenerated into one of his previous regenerations? Like his personality's the same and everything? Or
Basically, yeah.
That's
From what I've seen, but I haven't seen the episodes because they're not out in the U.S. yet.
Oh.
I've only seen reviews and stuff like that.
And you know they're going to explain it thoroughly and have a totally reasonable explanation. I get you. I got you there.
Oh my gosh, I needed that.
I'm guessing that's a no.
Okay. Alright. Okay. This was two 45-minute episodes, but what we have here on the Blu-ray is there are extended versions of each episode that add about 10 or I think 15 minutes on the first episode and about 10 minutes on the second episode.
There's more on the first episode.
Yeah, so
content.
Realistically, if any other season in the classic run, all the other seasons were 25-minute episodes. This would have been perfect as 5 25-minute episodes.
Oh.
But
it wasn't.
But it wasn't. It was during the one season with 45-minute episodes, so they basically had to cut out enough because they didn't have enough to make 3 45-minute episodes.
You think they had like all this written content and then like changes would go over the show and they're like, well, here's this, serial that we wrote for 5 episodes and now we just gotta shove it in here somehow. Trim off a little bit of the fat.
Generally speaking, and we've watched other serials, they got mushed down in terms of number of episodes, but they're the same length. But you go, oh, there's the cliffhanger. That's exactly what would have been the cliffhanger in between the episodes, you know?
Like when they take 2 episodes from one serial so that the other serial could be 6 episodes long.
Yeah.
It's like 5.
Yeah.
What did they do? The Santaran experiment?
Oh, yeah, they did the Santaran experiment at 2 episodes. Well, no, I mean, it was they had them write a 2-episode serial.
Oh.
They had them write a 2-episode serial so that they could make Genesis of the Daleks 6 episodes because it was just epic.
Yeah. You need that.
Yeah, you need that.
Time frame.
Yeah. All right, so we're on the 6th Doctor, his first full season.
Ollie B.
Then it's on Varos. Oh, anyway, so it's Thursday.
It is Thursday.
You had to do your Christmas on Monday on New Year's Day for your family, so we didn't get to do this on Monday. And then next Monday I'll be in New Orleans with your brother Levi.
Right. Yeah.
And so hopefully we can figure out another day the next week, which will also be off on Monday. But
so it's not the Monday podcast anymore.
Well, it normally is the Monday, but the holidays are messing with us.
Yeah, we're getting off the holidays. We went on a holiday break. If you didn't notice.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Welcome back.
Yeah, and so now we're getting back into the thick of things. All right. This aired from January 19th. 1985 to January 26, 1985. Notice that the dates have passed us by again. We finally did another lap on the year.
Some leapfrogs with the...
Yeah. So, because we're on season 22 and we've been doing this for not quite 6 years.
Yeah.
So
we're going to catch up again.
We're going to keep doing that. Yep. All right. The companions, just Perry.
Just Perry.
We have just Perry for a while.
Unfortunately, all these new companions I wrote down last serial didn't stay on.
They weren't companions. And antagonists, we have Syl.
Yeah, remember Lytton? He would have been a cool...
Quilliam.
The kids would have said Lytton would have been a lit companion. That's what the kids are saying that is.
Quilliam. Syl.
Which is a weird name. And Syl, and then...
And you're forgetting the other guy.
On top of that is the Chief Guard, which was...
I think Chief.
They referred to him as the Chief Guard. Then they had the Senior Guard, Maldak. But then he had kind of like this redemption arc at the end.
Yeah, it's cool.
And yeah, I don't think we ever got the Chief Guard's name, did we? They
just Chief.
They always called him Chief. Well, he's definitely a villain, yeah. So he's going up there.
So... Anyway, wish this would have been 5 regular episodes of the regular length. Because
I don't know. But then we'd have like episode breaks and intros and outros and recaps.
But but they cut out
like
so much good
episodes.
stuff that fleshed out the extended version really well.
A little bit. Like some of the stuff I'm glad we watched and they cut it back in and they did a decent job, cutting and blending it all together. It's very seamless. But some stuff, it's like, that's just a extended hallway cut, you can get rid of that.
Well, I believe that
That's a lot of it.
I'm sure that there was other stuff that was filmed that didn't make the edit.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe this was basically more or less the original cut.
It's like someone...
If you know, let us know in the comments.
So, yeah, so we don't know the story about the extended... It looks to me like the first time they aired the full extended, and someone was recording it on like a camcorder. And then that's how they got the footage to spliced in later on.
Well, remember they saved this stuff on videotape back before all the computers, and they've edited down the videotape. But some of the vestiges of the videotape remain. Remember the way too violent for Australia stuff?
Yeah, that's what it kept reminding me of.
All right.
So we have 2 episodes in this one, and the
Should
best
have been
way
2.5. Yeah.
to describe how the first episode it starts. It's a little rough. It's torturous. I would describe it.
Somebody's being tortured.
It opens on someone being tortured.
Yeah.
Which is really dark, because a dark opening.
Okay, this whole serial
And it continues to just be dark.
So, late in the 4th Doctor, they got it pushed from children's show to family show, which meant it went above the watershed, which means later time frame where you could be more adult. So they said, well...
They certainly ran with
we're going to run with it. So, we get serials like the one with the 5th Doctor where what's her face leaves, Tegan leaves for the second and final time because everybody died. There was 72 deaths or whatever. You get several of those. There's another 2 or 3 where everybody dies except the Doctor and the companions.
Yeah.
And in some of them, even the companions die. Like Chameleon, kill me. It's like, oh my god.
So dark.
But so now that they're above the watershed, they're able to go more adult, more dark, and they do with gusto. This is one of them.
So much so that even like the fun, silly, comedic effect things were focused on like really horrific subject material. Like the 2 guards that are drowning in a pit of acid, and they're playing the weird trombone, like womp 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 womp.
We still have some majorly silly stuff coming down the pipe, most notably in the 7th Doctor. Some very silly stuff. But yeah, a lot of this season is just fairly dark. Same for the last season with the 5th Doctor. All right. Anyway, wish it would have been 2.5 episodes because I like the extended cut. If you don't have the Blu-ray, go ahead and get the Blu-ray. It's worth it because there are several episodes during the season that have extended cuts. We have a few more later on.
Or just watch this podcast and we'll cover it so thoroughly.
People like experiencing it first. Oh, dude.
This is the experience.
Our first episode now has nearly 200 views.
I was looking at we finally dethroned your top video.
Oh, the history of Doctor Who. Yeah.
Part 2. Was it, or is it part?
No. It was just the history of Doctor Who, not the history of Doctor Companions.
Been beaten out by episode. I think number 3 has our most views.
Like 200 or something.
Very close to it. It's like 197.
We're not viral, but we're definitely a little sick. But anyway, so that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway.
Drive you away soon enough.
Alright, welcome back. New year, 2024. Right.
So it opens on this torture scene. We see John Dar. For some reason, I thought it was...
Right, he looks like Wesley from The Princess Bride's younger brother. Lissa mentioned that.
It looks like if Wesley was playing Captain America, but before they put him into the thing that gave him all the muscles.
Well, he's kind of scrawny, but he does have a lot of lean muscle.
Yeah.
He's got no fat. It's lean muscle.
All bruised up.
Yeah, he's in shackles, and there's a laser beam pointed at him that he's trying to dodge, and it just kind of goes off randomly and tortures him.
Mm-hmm. Just good old wholesome entertainment.
Yeah.
As we see as a husband and wife are watching it, right,
yeah.
on their television screen.
There's a very interesting setup in this, okay? So the world is incredibly dark, Varos. Incredibly dark. It's
dystopian.
Yeah, very dystopian, very communist, where the people, the very high echelons, live like kings.
Yeah, you got your oligarchs.
Yeah.
It's very totalitarian.
Everyone else lives like crap. They're basically slaves on menial labor and limited rations. But there's no fat people in this deal. The closest is the chief.
The cannibal is kind of chubby for being stranded underground.
Well, he's eating the dead bodies of the people who die in the dome.
He looked like
the punishment dome.
Fed pretty well.
I think it's just more of the old age. But
he must have been eating a lot of people.
But well, I mean, at least it's meat.
Yeah, protein.
Yeah. So you've got this fairly dark communist underground alpha complex-esque society where the only entertainment is watching people be tortured or executed on TV.
Yeah, like the Thunderdome.
Yeah, except it's a punishment dome.
The Dome of Punishment.
Anyone who breaks any of the laws ends up being punished, tortured, sometimes executed. They've got a bunch of prisoners, and that's pretty much all there is. There's a governor who's put in a position that's impossible because
just a rigid T-shirt.
Yeah, scissors, beads, paper. Is that and that? Yeah. Scissors, bead, paper.
So silly.
Hey, I got this on the Isle of Guernsey.
Yeah, I don't even know where that is.
It's
East Coast.
No, it's an island in the English Channel owned by the British.
I got the compass direction right.
Okay.
It is east. Wait. Yeah, that's east.
That's west.
Well, I mean, like... the European Isles are east of us. If this is the map, that's east. I don't mean that.
That's, oh no. You're right. That's east.
Oh, I was right.
North, east, west, south, yeah.
I was talking in terms of if a map
Right, but no, you're right. That's east. All right. So anyway, my bad. So the Guernsey Island was occupied by the Nazis during World War II.
Right.
Yeah. So I bought this on that island, and they're making fun of Hitler who occupied it.
That's great.
It is. I mean, I don't know where else you can get this T-shirt. It's the only place I've ever seen it. All right. So anyway, in this society, and it's really, really meager. It's really, really bereft of any comforts. It's really dark and brown and underground and just not good. All they have is the TV set and vote yes and vote no buttons on either side of the TV set. If you like the entertainment, you vote yes, it's good. If you don't like it, you vote no, it's bad. And the governor has to stand every once in a while for a vote. And if he doesn't like it, he gets his molecules hit by a beam of radiation that breaks down his body. It's just...
Obliterated.
Yeah, it's bad. Really dark. So anyway...
Wouldn't that be a great, like, a lot of fun for a political structure? Could you imagine like, some of our politicians sitting in that chair?
No. God, no.
I mean, I feel like some people would want that.
Right. Some people would want that, but no. Okay. I mean, they're all prisoners. They're all slaves, essentially. to the system, if not directly. But
The proletariat.
yeah, so there's this middle-aged to older couple. Look like they're like late 40s. The guy, Adric or whatever, or Arak, A-R-A-K, and I don't think I ever got his wife's name.
Me either.
Yeah. But through the entire 2 episodes, they're in their little cubicle, in their little apartment or whatever, watching the stuff happening on the TV, the torture, the governor's announcements, the executions, everything, and just interacting with each other and displaying how bad the society is, because the woman keeps threatening to turn the guy in for some things he's saying. Just filling out my viewer report. I'm not in there, am I? Stuff like that. And she keeps doing that. And it just shows the dynamics, how the normal people live, and they never, ever, ever interact with any other character in any of it, period. Just them off to the side and everything else going on, and you get to see a lot of it through their eyes. And it's really dark, but it's really good.
It's just there for us, the viewer. And that's why I like that we watched the extended cut, because a lot of their scenes were cut down or cut out.
Yeah.
And a lot of those you see edited back in, which was nice.
Yeah.
You got to see more of the old couple bickering.
So, so that's going on. This guy's being tortured on TV with the laser deal. This old couple, middle-aged couple to old, are watching and bickering and stuff. And the man talks about how bad the rations are. And they discuss things, and they set up the whole scenario where you learn about the governor and all of that. So, in the meantime, it's been like 10 minutes before we get like a little clip of the Doctor and Perry towards the beginning, but they don't even show up on the planet till about half an hour to 40 minutes in.
Did you ever get the governor's name? Or did they just ever refer to him as the governor?
I think just governor. I don't think I ever got his name.
That's all I wrote down. So. But yeah, it's a while before we meet our main cast, the Doctor and Perry. It's very long.
Yeah, long
introductory
build up and intro.
Yeah, several different scenes. We meet multiple characters before we ever see the Doctor and Perry.
So the Doctor and Perry are on the TARDIS. The Doctor's fixed the TARDIS supposedly. Perry's like, yeah, right. Every time you say that's it or all done, it goes awry. And the same thing happens here. And
then we have this weird flip-flop where the Doctor immediately gives up on this catastrophic failure of the TARDIS. And he's like, we're going to die here of old age. And Perry's like, well, don't give up now.
So,
gotta try something. And he's like, nah.
So what happens is
duck.
Well, first what happens...
in a void.
Yeah, they get stuck in this void between galaxies, out of time and more or less out of space.
Yeah.
And because it's run out of fuel. And the Doctor's like, this is the one thing the TARDIS can't fix. We need fuel. So, and she's like, well, what do you need? He's like, Zyton 7.
Or a little bit of unleaded.
Anyway, the Zyton 7 ore is what he needs. And the Doctor just gives up. This particular Doctor is very over dramatic. He's
very much so, yeah.
He's very much a drama queen. And he's like, oh, that's it. It's okay for you. You're gonna die of old age here, but I have to die of old age over a long, long time, many times.
It's not that he's the most defeatist Doctor that's ever been the most oppressive. He's the most everything Doctor, because he's the most visceral personality we've seen as the Doctor. So when his ups are really up and his lows are really low.
And his they're really there.
Swings.
Yeah,
he's a bipolar Doctor.
Yeah, he swings back and forth like a pendulum, you know?
Mm-hmm. When we were first introduced to this Colin Baker Doctor, they wrote in that his character's going through this weird glitch in his regeneration, and he's really unstable.
So he strangled Perry in the first episode, yeah.
And then we feel like he's kind of come out of that, but not really fully. Like he's still kind of has this. He swings in between different personalities.
He continues to slowly but surely mellow out. And he's better in his next season, although he's still a bit huff and puff, you know?
His last season, yeah.
Yeah, the second and final season. Although he does come back as a guardian of the chasm later on.
You know, if you were to ask me, you know, long term, what would you do with Colin Baker's doctor? And I'd say, chasm's fine. You can keep that chasm over there. That sounds like a good job for him. Just go over there.
Do you want to know how this doctor dies?
He dies?
Well,
as the chasm keeper?
No.
Or how he regenerates?
Well, how he dies and then regenerates.
Oh, that sounds like spoilers. I feel like we're going to get to it before too long. It's just next season.
We are. It's so bad.
We're already like halfway through this season?
No. Remember, the Twin Dilemma was the last season.
Oh, that happened right at the end of the
last season, yeah. So this is only the second of like 6 serials this season. One of my favorite is in 2 more serials.
2 more.
Mark of the Rani is the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And then 141 is the 2 Doctors.
2 doctors.
The 2 Doctors.
2 doctors. Which 2 doctors? So Colin Baker, right?
Number 6.
And then the other Baker? You have Tom Baker? The Bakers?
Troughton.
Oh, Troughton.
The second Doctor comes
he's
back.
better. He's my favorite.
And guess who he has with him?
Jamie McWiggum.
Jamie McCrimmon, yes. And it's awesome.
Jamie. Man, it's been so long since we've seen Jamie.
And it's the last time we see the second Doctor or Jamie.
He had like one tiny scene in the last big...
In the 5 Doctors.
Yeah, the 5 Doctors.
Yeah, the one where he's like, don't go there.
You're like, yeah, Jim. Oh, bye, Jamie.
It's basically a cameo, yeah.
That's exciting.
He would have been, remember I told you that he would have been the 5 Doctors, but everything got bumped down, yeah. So he kind of got kicked out, yeah. Sucks. I mean, basically his spot was taken by Romana, and she bumped down everyone else. Remember?
Romana?
Okay.
Romana 1.
Romana 2.
Romana.
Okay, so...
But she was with Tom.
Okay, yeah. So what was going to happen...
That was just like old footage of that.
Yeah, the stuff from the one that wasn't aired then, but we've seen. But the whole point was Tom Baker was going to be with Sarah Jane Smith. Because that was the companion for him.
Right.
But when they had to put him in with Romana out of Shada, that bumped Sarah Jane to the 3rd Doctor with whom she started.
Yeah.
Which bumped the Brigadier from the 3rd Doctor with whom he was with most to the 2nd Doctor.
Yeah.
Which is where he started. Which bumped Jamie off.
Now, why couldn't they just have 2 companions with the Doctor?
They really should have. I really would have liked Jamie to have a bigger part. But it is what it is.
Oh. Well, we see him episode after next.
The 2 Doctors, yeah. It's Jamie's still alive. The actor who plays Jamie McCrimmon is still alive. It is like still 70s or 80s now. Yeah, he's still alive. The 2nd Doctor has passed away. We won't see him again, but Jamie, in theory, we could see again, but I doubt it. This is thus far the last for him.
And this is going to be a really dark podcast, like a decade from now, and we go back and watch it, and they're like, hey, oh, this person's still with us, and this person's still with us.
And then by then they're all dead.
Yeah, you're like, not anymore.
Well, once again, so far all the Doctors have died in order, and all the numbered Doctors. And Tom Baker is like pushing 90.
Isn't that just like 2, 3 of them? 3 have died.
3 of the Doctors are dead.
Yeah.
The 1st Doctor died first, the 2nd Doctor died 2nd, the 3rd Doctor died 3rd. The fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, has been hanging on forever and a day. He's, like I said, pushing 90.
And he's so much older than the fourth.
He's a lot older than the fifth, yeah.
Yeah.
Davison's the fifth, yeah. Davison, because Davison was the youngest Doctor at the time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, all the classic Doctors, except for McGann, are getting pretty darn old. Baker, Davison, Colin Baker, and McCoy are all pushing up there, you know. We'll see what happens in another 10 years. I really wish they had more of them in the 60th anniversary specials, but they had none. None. Which is weird because the power of the Doctor, the last Chibnall episode, i.e. last Jodie Whittaker episode, when it comes to companion and Doctor stories, was more a celebration of the show and the history of the show than the 60th anniversary stuff was. It had old previous Doctors in it. It had old previous companions in it. It ended up being much more of a celebration of the history of the show than the 60th anniversary specials, which just had Tennant and Shutagawa eventually. It's just weird.
Have you seen his stuff? Is he good?
Shutagawa?
Yeah. Is the verdict still out?
Okay.
No.
He's only had one episode of his own, which was the Christmas special. The Church on Ruby Road or whatever, which just aired at Christmas. Haven't seen it because this stuff's not out yet on here.
They stuck in Tennant before Shutagawa.
Mm-hmm. 14th Doctor. And technically concurrently with?
So strange.
The regeneration from Tennant to Shutai was a mess. So
you haven't watched any of that stuff yet?
I've watched reviews on it, but I can't see the episodes because it's not out here in the States, except for Disney Plus, and screw them. I'm going to wait and buy them on Blu-ray when they come out.
That's what I was going to ask. You're still looking up reviews?
I'm catching things secondhand.
Forums.
I have to until I can watch them properly.
So what's the word on the Bad Wolf stuff? Is it meh?
I want to wait and have a fully informed opinion when I see them for myself, but it looks pretty bad.
So that's kind of the fandom's reaction as a whole, is that it's
some people probably love it, but
most people are
they did lose a lot of viewers between the first of the three specials and the last of the three specials.
I don't know if they're going to be able to come back from this.
Well, to be fair,
do you think cancellation is finally on the plate for Doctor Who?
Well, it's been canceled once before and not picked up properly the second time. Because remember, this is the second revival. But as long as Disney keeps pouring that sweet, sweet Disney money into it, it can go on for a long time with low viewership in the UK, because Disney gets a bunch of viewership around the world.
But how much are they going to be able to pour into it with how bad the Disney box office returns have been lately?
Okay, so I have brought up this subject on the forums, and I keep getting attacked. Well, Disney's not going bankrupt. I'm like, this is a hypothetical. Let's discuss the hypothetical. Yeah.
Looking at slashing some budgets.
Yeah. Let's discuss the hypothetical. Let's. Yeah. And then they attack me for even wanting to discuss the hypothetical, and I'm like.
Sounds like Reddit. You've been on Reddit?
No, Digital Spy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is on Digital Spy. I don't know what the knee-jerk gut reaction to defending Disney is. I mean, I guess it's a thing, but I watched Trainwrecks. Okay, the greatest reality show is reality.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need to watch Survivor. I don't need to watch The Amazing Race. I'm watching train wrecks in real time. China right now is a giant train wreck that's taking 20 years to derail itself, and it's going in real time, and it's a disaster. Disney, same thing. Hollywood right now, same thing. They're all destroying themselves. It's crazy, but it's a fascinating thing to watch.
Even like the boringest stuff, like politicians debating, has all of a sudden turned into the Super Bowl. Like, oh, we gotta watch this presidential debate.
It's crazy. Actually, I haven't watched any of the debates this time because the Democrats aren't having any debates whatsoever. And Trump is going to be the Republican nominee, isn't in any of the debates. So
they had Gavin Newsom versus Ron DeSantis.
Hosted by Sean Hannity, yes.
And I can't for the life of me find where to watch that. Like, I've seen people talk about it, but I can't find the VOD.
Go to Sean Hannity's website.
Is that like Fox?
No, he has a website.
Sean Hannity does?
Yeah, I think SeanHannity.com.
Huh.
SEAN, not SHAWN.
Oh, so I thought it was Fox that was... Is he with Fox, Sean Hannity?
Yes, he's with Fox.
Okay.
And he has a TV show with Fox, he has a radio show, but he also has his own website and stuff.
Right, the Hannity Show.
Yeah. Anyway, getting off of that. But yeah, I don't know... And there's the thing, Disney Plus has never made Disney money. Ever. It's never made the money.
They've been, yeah.
Eventually, they're going to have to start cutting a lot of other stuff, and if that's a casualty of it, what'll happen to Doctor Who viewership outside of the United Kingdom and Ireland? You know, I don't know, but that was the point, the hypothetical I was bringing up, and then everybody snapped at me for that. Yeah,
completely valid,
completely reasonable. Yeah. But how dare I question Disney's validity?
How dare you?
I'm like, dude, it's happening. And I told them, I'm like, I have watched so many companies do this exact same thing. I watched Sears self-destruct over years. I watched Hastings self-destruct over years. I watched Pier 1 Imports, Bed Bath & Beyond. Watched all these companies just implode over years of poor decisions and years of failing and constant sales and just doing the wrong things. And I've watched them, and you know what? I can spot when it's going on because I've seen it so many times and I've paid attention. And right now, Disney is doing those things. They've lost billions on their movies over the last several years.
Has there ever been an outlier that you thought was just dead to rights and they pulled a complete 180? Or is it usually like same old story?
Radio Shack's gone, right?
Yeah, they're gone, but
Radio
GameStop would be one, right? They were heading towards bankruptcy.
Okay.
All of a sudden,
GameStop was that
freaky
deaky
that wasn't even
thing with their
because they got shorted so hard that it wasn't even a decision they made that pulled them out of that downward spiral.
No.
Circumstances surrounding them.
Right, that was the whole thing of let's buy their stock and keep them afloat. And now there's never, ever going to be enough stock to cover the short.
Well, finally, they just started carrying more like computer peripherals and actual computer hardware, which is they just don't adapt. I don't understand these businesses. They're like, oh, sure, everyone else is doing this, but we're not gonna do that.
The funniest part with GameStop was, overall, they are 99% video games and stuff like that. But they apparently had one single weird modem thingy item that was determined to be necessary. And so they were able to stay open during the pandemic because of that one item.
They're yeah.
And they had a certificate saying they can stay open. And look, I got this, I can stay open. But it was for one item. It was just so weird.
Well, it was crazy to me that the department stores that had like a few of the essential items, and they weren't allowed to sell the other items, and they'd saran wrap
block them off.
It's like, well, I'm here to buy this, but I'd also like to buy this. You're like, no, that's not essential.
We can only We can't sell you that DVD.
It's like, but I'm already here.
We can sell you the blender, but we can't sell you the DVD.
Yeah.
It was so messed up.
That equals less germs.
Somehow it was ridiculous.
Or I loved how like they have these entire store warehouses, but they're like, but you have to stand outside on a line, very close, compact. Why?
Okay.
Well, that's to make sure that the shoppers have plenty of room, places to social distance, no infection. It's like, but you're packing people in this line. That's right. Just breathing on each other's necks.
No. So
That's not helping.
I went to Home Depot, right?
Uh-huh.
During all that insanity. And getting some garden tools, because I did stuff in the yard that I never thought I'd ever do because I was so bored. So you had to stand 6 feet from people in the line this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 6 feet away. The problem was the line wrapped around this way, and you were only a foot or two away from the guy on the other
shoulder
side.
to shoulder.
Not quite, a couple of feet, but it just didn't matter that you were 6 feet away from this guy because you were 2 feet from these guys.
A circle of people just breathing on each other, and they're like, "That's because we're social distancing. Is why you need to be in the line."
Everything about the pandemic was so stupid. Oh god, everything. It was just so insane.
They're like, "We're all about fire safety, so go stand by this open fire with a nice woolen sweater on." And that, you're like, "What?"
It was crazy. All right. Technical note. Like we're eventually gonna get to the story here soon, but technical note.
We should probably talk about it at some point.
Technical note for those who are waiting for season 20 of Classic Doctor Who, which this is the 40th anniversary of the 20th season, so that's coming out. Which is the one with the 5 doctors at the end of it. They're including that in season 20. Okay, so season 20 got pushed back from like January 9th to April 24th or something. It's now coming out in April here. Don't know why, but that's
logistics.
The case. Yeah, probably.
Money.
I was looking forward to getting it. It's logistics. They want the money.
Some CEO had his niece's birthday on that Friday, so that didn't work for him.
What?
Had to push the release back.
But anyway, so season 20, which marks the middle of the classic seasons, the 13 of 26 being out, is going to be a little bit later, and we're still expecting hopefully 1, possibly 2 more of the classic seasons this year. We'll see. All right. Anyway, so
You heard it here first.
yeah. So the Doctor gets all bereft. He's sulking in the TARDIS. He didn't even go to a nice place to sulk. He's sulking in the control room.
Completely resigned.
Yep, I'm going to die here of boredom over the next several millennia. Anyway, so he's doing that. At the same time, Perry's like, no, don't give up. Don't give up, Doctor.
Look, I found this manual. He's like,
propping up a vent.
Never even bothered reading that.
Yeah.
Really? I couldn't tell.
So he takes a look at the manual, and then the console goes up and down a little, and he's like, oh, it's probably just some residual energy. He's like, wait, flip. If there's residual energy, we can take it. And he runs over the console, has Perry hold the book, and it's a big book. And she's holding it, and he's like, okay.
She says Z.
She says, okay, yeah, this is one of the most annoying things. That means. She says Z, like we Americans say Z. And he goes, Z? Oh, you mean Zed.
Now, why is it that a Time Lord so strongly prefers the British pronunciation?
Because he landed in London.
Like he's specific.
He landed in London on Totter's Lane, and that's where he learned
and he got all these
English.
Companions.
And they were all pretty much
seems a little
British.
Yeah.
Until Perry, but the actress is British, the character's American.
Does the TARDIS translating things come into regional pronunciations of the Z and the Z?
It's a British show, mostly set in Britain.
So
they're gonna be, Anglo-centric. It's just the way of it.
Time Lords don't speak the Queen's English, though, right?
On that show, they do. Not as much Eccleston.
You always wonder, like, don't they have, like, a letter or a number in Time Lordese that's not able to be translated into English? Gallifreyan. So here you have Perry standing with this Gallifreyan user manual, and it just everything's in perfect English for her? Like, how does it...
Yes.
Oof.
Apparently the TARDIS can translate everything except for two things. It cannot seem to translate... You haven't seen them yet. But later on there's a version of space cops that are basically rhinoceroses.
I think, you've told me about that.
Yeah.
It's like C-3PO.
And they
speak
speak
so many languages.
Soto, Romo, Kofo, Po. To.
You think that'd be easy to translate?
The TARDIS does not translate that. The Doctor has to speak in their language, and they speak, and we don't get English.
So,
the other one is occasionally High Gallifreyan is not translated.
I bet it couldn't translate Cajun. Probably have a hard time with that one.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so the Doctor finally goes, ooh, we can use the last vestiges of energy in the TARDIS. We can get us on a short hop somewhere. And
did we talk about what led them into being stranded in this void?
Well, yeah, he was working on the console.
He was being totally manic. Like, he's having one of his manic episodes. Perry said that he jettisoned three-quarters of the storage hold in the TARDIS. Like, what on earth? 3/4 of the infinite TARDIS's storage capacity.
I skipped over her list of things that he had done poorly, but I covered the rest of it.
Possibly jettisoned out of space. It's just this regeneration had this manic thing that just jettisoned 3/4 of all of the Doctor's regeneration's collective stuff.
They wanted this Doctor to be different. He is different, but he's also unpopular because in the ways in which he's different. Which is why he received so much flack at the time.
Makes sense.
Which is why the attempted first cancellation of the show happened during him.
Right around.
Between his first and second seasons, there was an 18-month gap.
I like to think of Doctor Who as this creature that the BBC keeps trying to kill and it just won't die.
That was the case.
You're canceled. It's like, no.
That was really the case in the 1980s. That was literally the case until it was finally canceled at the end of '89, December of '89.
It's like trying to cancel Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, like the first two seasons.
Iconic and synonymous.
Alright, so anyway.
With British culture.
Oh look, Mickey Mouse. Ooh, public domain now. Yay.
Is he really? When is that happening?
Steamboat Willie became public domain as of Monday.
Oh,
no way.
Yep. This Monday?
Yep. The first of this year.
Oh.
Tigger also became public domain.
And we're having a Tigger horror movie coming out of here.
Well, they had the one with Winnie the Pooh and the others.
Maybe that's the one.
Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And that was, I went to the theater and saw it. It was reasonably enjoyable for a low-budget horror movie. But Tigger wasn't in it, because Tigger wasn't public domain yet. Now he is.
What I hate is this weird Frankenstein two-step that they're doing, like with the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is public domain, you can take pictures of it. But not at night with the lights, because the lights aren't public domain yet. That's not... Did you hear about that? You're not allowed to take pictures of the Eiffel Tower at night because the Eiffel Tower is old enough to where it's in the public domain.
Yeah,
the renovation
30 years
of
old.
all the lights that they put on is not in public domain. That's subject to copyright.
Oh, let them try to stop people.
But that's what they're going to be doing with, they're already making the argument with Mickey Mouse that, oh, sure, Steamboat Willie is in the public domain, but this version of Mickey Mouse is not. And this version, this version.
To be fair...
So what you're going to get is all these lawyers in suits arguing of, oh, this this is not a substantial enough change. Oh, yes, it is. That's
Well,
our property. No, it's not.
To be fair, there's precedent for that. But also to be fair, once the character is in public domain, the iterations of him go into public domain more rapidly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the changes are not significant enough, and they are not deep enough that it usually follows pretty quickly. It doesn't mean Mickey Mouse in his modern form will be public domain in 5 years. It'll probably take a lot longer than that, maybe 20. But Disney's already given up on. They've already retired him as their mascot.
Yeah, it was the new
Disney
mascot.
100 years. They retired him as their mascot.
Are they just sticking with the castle now? Is that their new mascot?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the chick from Frozen, you know?
Let it go. Yeah, in some ways
Yeah.
she is kind of the de facto.
Or maybe the Lion King or something, you know? I wouldn't be surprised. But they retired Disney as their mascot. They understood that the time was up on it, and they stopped fighting. And it's one of the many ways they're trying to save money now because they're going bankrupt, which may affect Doctor Who's showing outside the United Kingdom.
Very much.
Oh my gosh, they've just lost so much money, and they owe so much money. And the guys were like, on the forum, they were like, you've obviously never run a big company. I said, no, but I've run a decent-sized company, and we've had this amount of sales over the last 2 years.
Obviously, you're not the CEO of Disney.
Right.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah, but I was like, but I've run this decently middle-sized company with this amount of sales the last, each year for the last 2 years, and you know what? This is how you run a company, and they quit arguing that point after that.
Speaking of the forums, I think we might be remiss if we didn't discuss, what was it called? Vengeance on Varos. We should probably talk about.
Okay.
In fact,
sorry, we have a whole month of everything saved up.
Yeah, we have so much enough to do. Are we caught up on the Doctor Who news or anything else?
I think we caught up on everything.
I think we've caught up on everything.
You go to the restroom. I'll keep working on the actual plot. All right.
I'll get out of here so you can.
Actually talk. All right. So, anyway, the Doctor finally figures out they can go. Perry's like, "Hey, let's go wherever you get this, wherever you get this ore." And Dar's like, "Oh, Varos. Yeah, we can probably make it there." So the Doctor takes the TARDIS to Varos. And the TARDIS finally shows up on Varos like 30 or so minutes into the first episode. It's really late, although it's happened a few other times where we've seen the Doctor like 20 or so minutes, like very, very end of the first episode, actually show up on the planet. This is one of those cases where all this stuff's happening on the planet and the Doctor and Perry are on the TARDIS and they finally show up. In the meantime, the governor's lost a vote, and he's trying to renegotiate the price of his ore with Syl. Syl is a little person in an outfit that looks kind of like a grub. You've got his face, you got this weird little quill thing here, and the rest of it's just sort of a grub. And Syl speaks with this really annoying manner and keeps going, which is really annoying. But he's a bad guy, and he plays a really good bad guy. I think the actor may have been one of the dwarfs in Time Bandits, but don't hold me to that. Not 100% sure. But whoever the actor is, he does a fantastic job of playing an unlikable bad guy. He does a great job. Anyway, so Syl's working with this mining company. They're buying the ore from Varos. They're way underpaying for the ore, period, which is why the planet is so destitute. Because this is the only place where the ore is and can be mined. And pretty much, if you have a space-time vehicle, you need this ore. So the rest of the galaxy needs the ore. But he keeps trying to lowball the governor. The governor, trying to get a higher amount, trying to help out his people. I was telling my wife this, he's the quintessential example of noblesse oblige. Just perfect in it. The guy is amazing. The guy playing the governor is just phenomenal. And he accepts his fate, and he accepts the judgments with resolution and just great acceptance. Anyway, so he's asking the people to accept slightly lower rations for now so he can have a better standpoint and longevity to negotiate with Sill to get higher, because he wants 7 units per ore. And Sill keeps balking on it, which is sad because Sill's company's making so much money, but he's trying to balk over just a little bit. It's just sad. It's just greed. Anyway, so the governor loses the vote, 900 something thousand to 600 something thousand. So on the entire planet, there's maybe a couple million people, say 1.5 million or 1.6 million who can vote, and maybe another 400,000 are too young to vote, maybe, or officers or people who don't get to vote, prisoners, whatever. And so this light, this beam, just kind of hits his body, and it's destroying his molecular structure. It weakens him, it pains him, it's torturous. And this is the third of those he survived in a row. When the governors lose a vote, they get subjected to that beam. The idea apparently was so that the governors would figure out solutions to the problems because their life literally depended on it. The will of the people would punish them if they didn't. The problem is that Varos is so bereft of anything valuable except this ore, which they're being cheated on heavily, that there's no way out for any governor, and they all basically end their regimes, to use the word from the serial, fairly quickly. So he survives, just barely, but he's weak. And in the meantime, he goes out to the governor's quarters, which he's kept there by a guard. He can't leave on his own. He has to ask permission from the chief to leave the governor's quarters. Very small detail, which is telling, but can be lost if you don't pay attention. Anyway, so he goes out to the chief's area, and he's really weak because he just survived the bombardment. And Dax is one of the people. He's like, hey, why don't you give yourself time to rest before you try and negotiate again? Why don't we set up an execution? Because the executions will give the people something to watch while this is going on. He's like, he finally relents, and they decide to execute Jared or Jondar, the Wesley, not Wesley Crusher, Wesley from Princess Bride, looks like his younger brother, and they decide to execute him. So they set up this laser beam to basically execute him when it goes off randomly. They break the power pack so that it builds up, doesn't do it properly, then finally just atomizes him. They do this. The Doctor and Perry finally show up in the TARDIS, and there's a guard shooting at the TARDIS, but they're in an area where the guard has a helmet on to stop him from seeing illusions, because in the punishment dome there's all these things that affect your mind, but the guards have helmets to protect them from that. So anyway, the guard, because he sees the TARDIS materialize, this police box, thinks his helmet is malfunctioning, he's seeing an illusion. Also, he shoots it and it just bounces off, nothing happens. So the guard goes away. The Doctor's like, why? No, Perry says, why did he fire at us and then ignore us? And the Doctor's like, let's go ask. So the doctor and Perry go out. They ask the guard, hey, hi. And the guard's like, I know you're not real. You're figments of my imagination. The doctor's like, really? And so the doctor and Perry approach him. The guard backs up far enough that he ends up right in front of the Jandar. Jandar kicks him because his hands are shackled, but his feet aren't, and knocks the guard out. The doctor then, and this guard's tall. He's got this sort of reddish, bushy hair, maybe sandy blonde, but kind of reddish, kind of curly. But the guy's got to be like 6'3". He's really tall. And he ends up being Maldrek. So he gets knocked out. The doctor grabs the laser deal, and he has a magnet. I don't mean like this kind of, I mean the horseshoe kind of magnet. And he uses it. Come in.
That's me.
Hey.
Surprise.
You should get more of this.
Oh, am I low? More run on
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Go get one.
Yeah, pretty low.
That's basically out.
Grab it back up. I'll be back.
Or two. Yeah. All right. So the doctor uses that old horseshoe magnet, and he kind of wedges it in with a laser, and he has Perry move Jandar to the side, and the doctor shoots the chains with the laser that are holding up Jandar on the one side, and then he does the other, and they escape. They try to go back to the TARDIS, but in the meantime, the people who are watching all this in the control center, they have sent a bunch of guards to capture them and to stop stopping the execution. So
they only sent 2 guards. They ran
4
around the corner.
No. So
So send out all guards you can spare, and 4 people.
Okay. Well, they've got these weird golf cart things, where
which are very necessary.
right.
They're like, jump on, and they could have just
run,
walk faster.
So you've got the driver in the middle, and then you've got barely space for a passenger on either side if they're skinny and they keep their legs in.
Yeah.
And then you've got space for one guy on the back to stand. And that's it. There's one of these vehicles that they use in different scenes.
And it pursues assailants at about 5 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
So you're really hopping it out.
Like, the set design for most of this is pretty bad. Except I will give props to the room for the governor in the governor's area with the big V in the back for Varos.
That was nice. Yeah,
that was nice.
I like the
and the control center.
dark V symbolism.
Yeah, and the control center.
I wasn't blown away by the dome of punishment, though. You think, punishment dome, and it's just...
It wasn't great, but the control center was also pretty good. The rest of it was one corridor, which Perry actually mentioned at one point. All these corridors look the same to me. It becomes a big joke within its own show, right? The one corridor with the one golf cart, and
I like that they set up different traps in the same corridor to make it look different. It's like, well, this is a different corridor
and different lighting,
purple tint.
Yeah,
it's a whole different section of the maze.
Right, the show was already going downhill in many ways at this point, which is why they were trying to, and they were strangling it. They were trying to cancel it, so they gave it no budget.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you have to build this maze, but you only have budget for one set.
So
change out the
light
filters, holding set.
Well, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Different light, cheap movie. Same room, different light, cheap movie.
They did a really good job with that budget, though.
So in the meantime, Syl finds out that the governor is planning on sending out videotapes of the punishments in the punishment dome as a method to enhance the income of the planet.
Yeah.
And Syl is very keen on this, and
Torture on demand.
he is incredibly into death and execution and torture. But anyway, so the 4 guards get between the doctor, what's his name? Jay?
William?
No, Jay.
Jay? Oh, John Dar?
John Dar. It's a weird name. Get between the Doctor, Perry, John Dar, and the TARDIS. And the doctor's like, okay, help me move this thing. And he moves the laser over. So if somebody comes around the corner, they're going to get zapped.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes around the corner, one of the guards, and he gets zapped. Our very first death of how many?
9, maybe 10.
I think it's 10, but yeah. So one guy comes around the corner, one guard
9.5.
gets shot. He dies.
Our first death, yeah.
Yeah, our first death.
It was we went a while before we saw someone die.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't that rare.
There was lots of torture, but
very dark.
Torture, executions, but no killing at the moment.
My favorite death is the pit of acid. She got 2 deaths, and then
So the doctor literally kills somebody here, and we see him.
So he also killed the first person.
He killed the first person.
Yeah, I mean,
laser.
You could argue it wasn't intentional, but he set up a very deadly booby trap for anyone to, pretty much intentional killing. And then he kills another 2 people.
You could argue that the first guy was accidental.
Yeah.
But the second guy was very much killed.
He's just literally forcing him into the acid.
The doctor is incredibly deadly in this particular
about killing.
Yeah.
Which is so juxtaposed to the
fifth doctor,
very pacifistic several doctors that we've seen go, oh, I can't possibly kill this evil Dalek. And now he's like, oh, you're a guard?
You're trying to kill me? You're dead. This doctor is all that in a bag of chips. So they get away. In the meantime, there was the wife of John Dar. Aretta. Right before John Dar was going to be executed, because he was only given 5 minutes notice that he was going to be executed.
They torture him all day, and they're like, all right, that's... We got like 5 more minutes.
I think this entire story takes place within about 12 hours.
In an evening, one day.
In one day, it just all clocks by pretty quickly, and we see that a lot in the modern stuff.
That's why I really like the husband and wife. They were just in their living room watching it all go down on the TV.
They're like, what?
And then finally the program ends. They're like, well, what do we do now?
We're free. What do we do now? Don't know. Okay, so Aretta is being told by a guard who's an old friend of hers and John Dar's.
Is that Maldak or Rondell?
Rondell. Maldak's the tall one who comes to his senses later. Rondell, not to be confused with the Rondells in the TARDIS, Rondells. Anyway, so Rondell, she's like, you used to be one of us. Becoming a guard's made you bad. He's like, well, you know, your guy did all this rebel stuff, but he's going to be executed. She's like, save him. He's like, it's too late. Anyway, apparently he decides to rescue.
He makes that decision on camera.
Yeah, makes a decision on camera. Rescues her. They meet up with the doctor.
Of all the cutout scenes they were included, you're left wondering if there's even more cutout scenes.
Well, I think there were. I think the original edit was the version that we saw. Mm-hmm. I think there was probably other stuff that was cut out. I mean, that you could have padded to a 3rd episode, but no. Anyway, so they all get together. So you have Rondell, the wife, Aretta, what's his name?
Colin Baker. Who?
Well, the doctor, Perry, and John Dar.
Yeah.
And they're running from the guards, and they go into a little cubby hole, and then they decide they can't stay there, and they run out, and man, Rondell doesn't last very long. He dies, second death, boom,
Right.
all right. The rest of them run away. But
It's
the
like,
problem,
my name is Ronald. I'm here to help.
so they go, but the problem is they're in the punishment dome, and they're walking through, and they're trying to get to the TARDIS, but they go through the purple section. The purple section screws with your mind. So purple lights to make their one corridor look different, and they see this giant thing that's gonna attack them, and it's obviously a fly,
Giant fly.
but it's huge. The doctor's like, "No, shut your eyes, shut your eyes," and the doctor inches forward. Everybody's holding hands. They go through the fly. The doctor's like, "Oh, we made it, great," because it was all on their heads. It took an actual fly that was on his lapel, and magnified it and made them afraid. In the meantime, the couple like, "Ooh, I like him. I like the guy in the funny clothes." And they're talking about all that. And so then the doctor and them, they keep going, and a couple of lights come down after they think they smell a beast. The lights come down, and the doctor realizes it's probably fake, and he runs forward, and it's just some lights. 2 green lights. So they get past that, they keep going.
They pulled the same trick twice.
Well,
3 times. It's not real.
Well, and then they get separated. And Rondell Ariet, what's her name? Aretta. And just juxtapose 2 of the letters. Aretta and Perry basically get caught. The doctor keeps going, and he winds up in an area where the trap is.
Mirage.
He thinks he's in a desert, and there's all these heat lamps, tons of heat lamps. They showed those. That was cool, and he thinks he's literally dying in the desert of thirst, and he does what I would do. He took his jacket off first. I'd probably take off a few more clothes, but he took off his jacket, and he ends up crawling and crawling and crawling, and he sees a mirage of Perry in the distance, and she's holding a glass of water, and she drinks. "Drink, doctor. Drink water. Drink water."
So during the Spanish Inquisition, and torturing was just on their rage. To where they literally employed people to invent new torture devices. I feel like this is a version of that with a more advanced civilization. It's more technologically advanced, and they're just perfecting this, messing and torturing with people to the point of death, to where they have this maze where it starts you off, real traps in danger, and then there are illusionary traps in danger, and then it mixes the both to where you're like, I know this is a mirage or an illusion, but they add in the heat lamp, so there's that real element of danger hiding behind the mirage, and it's just messing with your mind in such a so you see the other companions, they get captured right away, and even the doctor and his more advanced physiological and intellect, he even succumbs to the torturous devices of this maze, which I just thought was clever.
It was interesting,
interesting.
So he falls down, and he's crawling, and he's trying to get through the desert. Oh, well, what in his mind is a desert, what in reality is just this same hallway they've used for every other shot. He's crawling, and finally he kind of looks like he gives up the ghost. And the governor is back, and he's feeling better, and he's like, okay, cut now, and they cut, and it looks like the doctor's dead. End of episode 1. All right, cut to episode 2.
He's not really
get some ice. I'm gonna use it to get some ice.
They rush in, they cut it to where it looks like he's done for, he's gone. But then they run in and capture him because they want to ask him questions, right?
Well, no, they put him on the stretcher because he's dead, and they're taking him to the place to dispose
of the
body.
Right, yeah. So they don't make it in time. They think he's actually dead. He's not. The governor, he's this more morally superior guy, and he you get the feeling that he values life much more than his coworkers. So he goes, we need to question these people, and you get the sense that he's saying what they want to hear, but really underneath it, he's trying to preserve human life. So, but they think that they don't get to the doctor in time to capture him and question him. They think he's dead, but he's a Time Lord, so he's really just in some like near death coma. So they pick him up, they put him on the stretcher, and they take him away. And they take him to this autopsy laboratory with these corpse bags. Yeah, what do you call them? They're zipping up dead people, and they're getting ready to put the doctor in one of these bags. And he wakes up, startles the one guy. He falls into this acid pit. It never really explains why there's a pit of acid in their mortuary, but their autopsy room, but there is, because it's the sci-fi in the future. And the one guy falls in, and the doctor and the other medical staff guard guy immediately start tussling, and the doctor has absolutely no qualms about really. So this is what I've been looking forward to talking about the whole episode, the whole podcast. It's just the weirdest, most striking, bizarre scene in this whole thing. It's not only that Colin Baker is such a different doctor that we've seen before, who doesn't really value life like the other doctors. He's not a pacifist. He's visceral, and he swings wildly through emotions, and immediately he wakes up and he has this sense of self-preservation, and he's fighting with this other guard. He's literally trying to push him into the acid pit, and then he succeeds. But the whole scene is played to this dark comedic effect, and they have these trombones, and when the guy's pushed into the acid, it goes like womp 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 womp, and it's so weird and so far removed from anything Doctor Who that we've seen before. And I feel like that's probably one of the few appeals of the Colin Baker Doctor. It just turns the whole genre upside down and on its head, and you feel like that shakeup was kind of necessary. Because sure, you could argue that the show had a big downturn and went through cancellation, but really, if they didn't really turn the whole genre on its upside down like that, you could argue that Doctor Who would become stagnant and never really go through the evolution or changes that the show needed to.
Phone.
Oh. I was checking my phone on
yeah.
That just goes in. You're not allowed to have a phone on the podcast. So that's why I keep the second phone in.
I feel like a teacher checking the kid's phone at the door.
I was just talking about my second phone.
Oh, hey! Second phone! Oh, man. Alright, so where are we?
I went into all sorts of detail about the Doctor and the acid pit and the...
And he ends up killing two guards and says, "Pardon me if I don't join you," and leaves.
That's really the only scene I discussed.
And the lady's like, "He's not dead. He's not dead."
Because it's the scene that I've been talking about this whole podcast.
It's a pretty drastic scene for the Doctor. I mean, he literally kills two people.
Yeah, but the whole scene is really dark, and the Doctor has no... he has this...
compunction.
Yeah, he has this no value for life like these other doctors, and he's immediately goes to self-preservation and ending the other person's life, literally trying to push them into the vat of acid. But what's so bizarre is he succeeds, and the whole scene's played up to this comedic effect with these wonky sound effects and yes, like what were they thinking?
and then the guy's like,
"This is the funny part. This is the comedic relief."
Two people died in an acid vat.
The walkie sound effects.
And one of them, okay, And then one of the guys pulls the other guy in. I mean, it wasn't technically the doctor, but
a drowning man will always try to drag someone down with him.
You could claim neither of those deaths were the doctor's fault.
The first one definitely was.
Definitely wasn't. The second one...
the first one with the laser.
Oh, the laser. But the two deaths at the acid pit, you could argue neither were doctor's fault. Because one was... The doctor was trying to push the guy in. But it was the second guy who grabbed him and pulled him.
Even if it wasn't directly the doctor's fault, it was his intention to push him into the... he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
And then he just walks away without it.
This doctor's a little touched. A little touched in the head. Alright, so anyway, the doctor gets away. He eventually gets caught.
Again, yeah.
Right, they eventually get... it gets caught by the Phantom of the Opera guy, Quilliam, which we barely talked about.
Runs right into him. Right after he's playing dress up, he tries on Quilliam's mask.
Yeah. Quilliam wears this Phantom of the Opera mask. We can only see the one eye. Yeah. I think it was his right eye that was showing. Yeah, it was his right eye that was showing.
Yeah, you're right.
So, we both uncovered the left eye. No, wait, that's not right. The right eye. So, he's got this big mask on. He's got all the scar stuff on his face, which we find out later. Anyway, Quilliam captures him. The doctor gets pulled in. Everyone else is already captured. Mm-hmm. So you have the doctor, Perry, Jandar, Jandar, and Areta. They're all captured.
So, yeah.
And the three of them, except Perry. Perry was with the governor. The governor's trying to interrogate Perry and find out the information from her. And in fact, he's forestalling his next vote. How many votes these guys take in a single day?
Yeah.
I mean, what is their governorship, like a week? I mean, seriously.
He failed 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And then he immediately takes a 4th one and says...
Passes that.
Yeah.
But it's like, how many votes... the governorship must last a week. People keep coming up to the top level circle, getting moved over, as we find out. The 1 out of the 12 gets picked, and they're going to be dead in a week. It's just a churn of it, which explains why that young guy was already in the top 12 circle, you know?
Yeah, it's...
Maldek, yeah. So...
Very gladiatorial.
Yeah, very, very Hunger Games-ish, too.
You have to win the favor of the people.
Yeah. Like I said, very Hunger Games-ish, too.
Yeah.
So...
The districts and the...
Yeah. So you still got Syl trying to close the deal, although he keeps making a bunch of errors. Syl is not good at this. He should have just taken the 7 and been done with it. But anyway, so the governor decides they're going to do an old school execution. Mm-hmm. So they have 4 nooses, and the doctor's like, well, there's 3 of us, but where's Perry? Then Perry shows up with the governor and the chief and Syl, and Syl's planning on taking over the whole planet. He's already called in an invasion force. He's determined that they're going to get this by hook or crook.
Yeah, and that's kind of the introduction to this serial is the concept of Zeta 7, this material and they specifically refer to that as a fuel source for space-time craft.
Yes.
Which means either they're selling it to Gallifreyans to power the TARDIS,
and there may be other civilizations.
Yeah, that apparently can travel through space and time.
The Daleks made a space-time machine.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen any other in the show that have made one, with the exception of me.
Me. The
character Me.
I don't know Me, do I?
Not yet.
I haven't. Okay.
She's a character.
MEI.
No. I mean, she starts out with a proper name. I just can't think of it at the moment.
That'd be me.
But then later on, she exists forever, like ever, and so she just adopts the name Me because everyone else in the world is just a gadfly to her.
And she's totally selfless.
No. But the Doctor ends up making her immortal. And it's played by the little girl from Game of Thrones.
The one that did Arya Stark?
The one that killed the army king or whatever.
Yeah, Arya.
Yeah. God, Game of Thrones. It's so good and ended so poorly. Anyway, so she shows up in Doctor Who. She is one of... Okay, so there's the big trifecta. If you've been in the 3 big British shows, Doctor Who, Game of Thrones,
James Bond,
Harry Potter.
Oh.
Harry Potter. If you've been in those 3, and there's only 2 actors that have done it. One's a major actor, and the other one's a super minor actor. Oh. Like Orc number 7 or whatever, right? But the major one is, you remember Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember
Daniel Radcliffe?
No, not Daniel Radcliffe. It's the guy with the cat who's the caretaker of the school.
The janitor guy.
Yeah. He was in Game of Thrones, remember?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's in Doctor Who. Remember I showed you...
He plays the first Doctor, right?
He plays the first Doctor in Adventures in Space and Time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he eventually comes back in Twice Upon a Time as the first Doctor.
Oh.
So... He's the one major actor in all 3.
Mm-hmm. And then there's
some super minor guy.
Minor guy.
Yeah, like I said, Orc number 7. Yeah. He super minor, but there's a second person who's been in all 3. So, congrats to you if you're him. I mean, well done.
7 degrees to.
But anyway, so the Doctor's being led up. They're going to be hanged. They don't have a gibbet, but they have what's the deal? A pulley.
Yeah.
They're gonna be hanged.
So why is it that the governor didn't believe Perry when she was talking about the TARDIS, even though they talk about Xenon 7 in the context of space?
Because he doesn't know it's being used in space-time craft. Only Syl knows that. The world, the galaxy knows that, but the Galactic Mining Company, whatever it's called, has been keeping Varos in the dark about the value of their ore, Xenon 7, so that they can exploit them and make a bunch of money off of them. And that's literally what's going on. So yeah, he doesn't know about space-time vehicles. He doesn't know that that's how that works. It's like living in a super secluded country. Let's say
oddly applicable to like all the people mining like what cobalt and everything that's used.
Let's pick somewhere that's like super isolated, like Zanzibar.
Yeah.
Okay. Madagascar, right? Mm-hmm. It's an island off the coast of Africa. Yeah. They probably have internet. Who knows? But they're isolated from the rest of the world by ocean, and they are isolated. I mean, and their main continent is Africa. It's not the most communicative continent, you know. You don't have a whole lot of internet. You don't have a whole lot of stuff. You're pretty much on your own, you know.
One thing I like is the Facebook kind of reached the market cap on the fact that their stock was declining because they couldn't continually grow their company because they ran out of people. It's like, well, everybody already has a Facebook account. So
doesn't want one. Thank you very much.
They started funding different countries in Africa to have internet so that they could sell more ad revenue towards. Yeah. So they're like, we'll give you SIM cards with free data, and it comes with Facebook pre-installed on your phones, and we're gonna set this deal up for you just so that we can have more people to advertise to. Yeah,
it sounds like the Kingsman. You've seen that, right?
The first and they just have the two.
They did the Kingsman, and they did the Kingsman Golden Circle, and then they did the Kingsman.
Didn't see that.
Which was a prequel of sorts.
I thought the first one was great.
First one was fantastic.
The second one, terrible. Worst film ever.
Okay,
so bad.
No, the second one still had its good points. I didn't like the way they killed off the one guy, and then I didn't like the way they brought the one guy back. No, no, they brought him back, but they killed off the other guy. Excalibur, or whatever his name was, Arthur.
And then
Merlin. They killed off Merlin, and they brought the other guy back. And look at, but I friggin' loved Elton John in it. It was fantastic. That
was the fun part.
Yeah.
It was just a terrible film. It was so bad.
The second one was good.
The first one was so good, though.
The first one was a masterpiece.
And then so quickly, just the very next film in the series, immediately they undid everything they did in the first film, and they became self-referential and self-aware.
Not everything.
And reiterative and redundant.
Not everything. They didn't undo his relationship with the princess. That had furthered and actually came into play in the second film.
Pretty quickly they were undoing.
No. They were having a little bit of problems, but they got past that. But mostly you're correct. You are correct. And in the third film, the prequel was just okay. They tried to set up the antithesis. Okay, most of it I liked, but they tried to set up because they treated Rasputin.
Oh, Rasputin's in it.
Yes, Rasputin's in it, and teen lover of the Russian queen. Yeah, and they treated him pretty much the way he was in real life.
Yeah,
because you know how
we don't go into legends.
You know how he died?
Syphilis?
No. He was shot, stabbed, poisoned, and finally he drowned in the same day or something. So in the movie that happens, and that was really cool. Mm-hmm. But once he's out of the movie, it's not as good. Oh. And at the end they set up, I am Lenin, but I've got this revolution, but you have to set up somebody against me. You have to have somebody on the other side. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm Hitler. Well, no, it's not the other side. They're both super leftists. They're both socialists and communists. And I hated that. It's like everyone, Hitler was on the right. No, Hitler wasn't on the right. National Socialist Workers Party. What if socialist or workers makes you think they're right? No, that was all on the left. Any big government control of society is on the left. Freedom is on the right.
Sounds like a train wreck of a twist.
Yeah, it's what they always try to do. El Duce, fascism was on the right. No, it's on the left. It's so stupid. But anyway, besides that ending, and the movie was really great till Rasputin dies. It's pretty good after that, and then the ending sucks. That's about 2/3 actually. Mm-hmm. Rasputin was the best part of that movie.
So you give it a 2 out of 3.
I give it about a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10.
Less than.
So yeah, a little bit less. Yeah.
Worse.
All right. Okay. So anyway, where were we on the plot?
They were all recaptured again.
Oh yeah. So
Perry's about to be turned into a bird.
No. Well, we don't know that. Hold on. Okay. The doctor and Jaguar. What's his name?
John
Dar. They're like, okay, we're gonna hang you, and but don't hang the women. Let the women go for transmogrification reconditioning. So the women get dragged off. Perry and Arreta. I'm so close. Arreta they get dragged off and, not happy about it. So the doctor and John Dart go up. They're being fitted with the nooses. And the governor's like, "Doctor, is there anything you can tell me which will keep me, from let me stop these proceedings?" And Dart's like, "Look," he plays a few games with it. But finally he's like, "Look, your ore is being undervalued. It's worth so much more, but I'm not going to tell you anything more until we talk things out." And he's like, "Okay." And in the meantime, Syl's like, "Kill them, kill them, kill them," because he thinks they're from another company at first. And then after that, he thinks that he's going to spill the beans on how valuable the ore is. And he's just like, kill them, kill them, kill them.
No matter who they are, they're a threat to his bottom line.
Yeah.
I like that. And
he's rabid.
Yeah.
He's literally rabid.
He's really a character that they just put into the story to just be disgusting. Like, some villains are designed to invoke that response. And
yes.
He looks like a turd. It's intentional.
He looks like a grub. But he does a great job with it. He really does. The actor did a fantastic job.
Nailed the performance.
I love his performance, and I love the governor's performance.
How he does the laughing thing.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Like I said, love his performance. Love the governor's performance. Everyone else is good to decent, but the governor's performance and his performance are both top notch. Fantastic.
Agreed.
Yeah. So they.
I like the doctor's appeal. They're like, "Your appeal's been denied." He's like, "I'd be disappointed if I asked for one."
That was great.
They're like, just before it's denied, whatever.
You're like, "Oh, I could have asked for one." Okay. So, the doctor and
then the space Catholic. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah. There's these very Catholic priests in the Catholic priest robes with a censor are going through, and the ones reading the book. The doctor's like, "Do you always get the priest rolls?" So anyway, it's good to see that even in the far future, there are the Catholics of some sort. Just
remove planetary life.
Oh, the great video! Hail to the great video! May they atone, give up their lives for their sins, and
the blockbuster cult.
Ooh, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, so dystopian. This whole serial is so dystopian. So the doctor and Jordash, what's his name?
John
Dart. They get hung, but the governor's staying at the execution, but then Syl yells for his two bodyguards, his two manservants to do that. They run up, and they're the ones trying to execute them, and finally one of them manages to do it, and the plank drops, and the doctor and he fall, but it turns out that the nooses weren't tied off. They were just on pulleys, which meant they fell to the bottom and they came up the stairs.
Which meant the governor never planned on executing
him? He did not plan on executing him. The doctor's like, "Do you find this method effective?" He says, "Yeah, a lot of people tell the truth when they think they're about to die, And in the meantime..."
But then what happens if they don't? Then you're supposed to actually kill them.
Well, later, in a different way, but...
So, this is awkward. Okay, tie off their nooses. We're gonna actually kill them.
So the doctor's like, he's like, "You knew?" The doctor's like, "Well, I noticed the cameras weren't on. If it was a real execution, the cameras would have been on." In the meantime, Syl did not notice this, and Syl gave up his whole hand on trying to kill them.
Yeah,
he showed what he was, what kind of being he was.
His two bodyguards arrested for...
Yeah, and so the governor looks and he goes, "Okay, I will find out the truth of all this after I've talked to both of you and figured out," and looks at the doctor, "who is truthful and friend." And he looks at Syl and goes, "Who is enemy and must die."
So his mind's not at all made up already.
Yeah, but like the hanging part would have been the perfect episode to end on the 25-minute
that's
episode.
where the
Right. There's one of those. It looked like it was written at 4 episodes, but or possibly 5.
I really feel like this script was written for a different kind of format than the show is in right now. It feels
the normal 25-minute episodes that have been the
4
standard for everything before the
5
season.
episode, yeah.
Yeah.
They took that script and they're just like,
we'll
put
tweak
it
it.
in here, yeah.
So anyway, the doctor gains governor's trust, and the governor sends Syl away. In the meantime, of course, Syl is working with Chief and his bride Chief to do all these horrible things, and Chief is acknowledging that things have gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, what was he expecting, though? He's kind of planning this whole government coup.
I think he's done this with other governors.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, Syl was so stingy and so greedy that and the governor's so stubborn for his people, for the benefit of his people, that it just unraveled. And of course, the doctor being the wild card in there, just the catalyst, everything unraveled. But anyway, so the doctor. So the doctor's like, I will tell you everything, but not must the women are returned to us unharmed, because they'd been sent away for transmogrification.
Oops.
Yeah. So cut to Quilliam.
Too late.
Cut to Quilliam, the family opera guy. Yeah, make sure the right eyes are exposed. Yeah. And he is literally setting up the laser beam. Looks like one of those things a dentist points at you for the x-rays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got that on the ladies, and he's like, whatever's in your mind, whatever's in the dark recesses of your mind, you will become that. And so he starts it up, and it's transmogrifying, and Perry's becoming a bird, and the rebel lady, what's her name? Aretta. She's like becoming a reptile.
Do you want a mnemonic device?
No, I'm done. She does not go past this episode.
It never fails.
I know.
It's so dumb that you can't forget.
I know.
Her areolas are hereditary. Areola.
That's the worst of those you've ever come up with.
Boy, you're not gonna forget it now.
I will probably forget it. I'll probably call her areola from now on.
Close enough. But it's hereditary. Arietta. That's bad.
Yeah, I told you. It's the worst one you've come up with this far. Alright, so she's turning into a reptile, and the chief was ordered to stop it, and he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And finally the doctor and...
They're arguing over who has the biggest wiener, and... I have final say, and well, actually, if you read section 19, no,
it was Amendment 14, section 19. Amendment 14, section 19. But anyway, so they come in, and the doctor and the governor are like, hey, what's going on? Where are them? And it's like, it's too late. It's too late. We can't stop it. It's too late. Like, well, it's only probably too late. Well, yeah, probably too late. Well, wait a minute.
I told you to stop.
So the doctor and Jordash, what's his name?
John Dark. You want a mnemonic device?
No, not at all. No. They managed to get a hold of a gun of one of the guards, and that allows them to get the gun from the other guard. And stupid ass Quilliam without.
I like the guns are like these little mini Gatlins with like the
little mini laser
like
Gatlins.
the 10 barrels on the handgun.
Oh, probably 9 or no, probably 10. I think you're right. Yeah, because the one in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, probably 10. Yeah,
they're probably just like heat vents or something because it's a single laser. But
and they're not very accurate.
No, it looks like I don't know. I just like that design.
So, so they managed to get that, and they're trying to get Quilliam to shut down the computer that does all the transmogrification. And Quilliam's like, fine, do it if you can, shut it down if you can. And Varos like, no time. He just shoots the whole computer bank, just blasts it.
He's like, hopefully this works.
Yeah, he destroys it, and
it works.
It works. So the deal that's transmogrifying them stops doing it, and they were not too far along. So their own metabolism
pretty far
reverts them back to humans.
Just sprouted feathers head to toe.
Yeah. Well, we don't see below the torso
at all.
Yeah. So the doctor and Jandor,
John
Dar, grab a guard. Which one? McGullum or whatever?
Rondell or Maldak?
Maldak. And the tall one with the hair. And they take him and they like, okay, we're out of here. They go. They make Maldak take them to the place where the experiments were happening. Give them the keys. And they lock everything. And then they get Perry and Alterac or whatever her name is.
Come on.
Areola.
Aretta.
Okay.
Not my best.
Okay, you would have done better with
better mnemonic.
You would have done better with Marietta.
John Dar.
Marietta, Georgia.
Marietta.
Georgia.
Arietta. Yeah.
Marietta.
Well, see, now you have your own.
Right,
but that's
better.
not so dumb that you can't forget it, though.
It's easy to remember. I have family in Marietta, Georgia.
Mnemonic device strategy is that it's really, really stupid. So
now all I can think of is breasts, but that's all I can normally think of.
It's too dumb to forget.
All right, so the doctor and John Dar get Perry and Arietta. Georgia, and they bring them, and they're escaping. In the meantime, they're trying to get away, and they manage to get into the punishment dome, and Perry and Arietta have to be left in the spot where the doctor and John Dar are trying to fix one of the golf carts.
Yeah.
Well, the one golf cart. We only ever see one.
They just have one for the whole planet, and it's breaking down.
And Perry wanders off. So the doctor grabs Arietta and John Dar. They're shooting back and forth with guards. They take off in the golf cart looking for Perry. Perry had wandered off. She gets captured again. She is taken to...
It's like the fourth or fifth time she's been
taken to the governor because the governor has to face a mandatory vote.
Which the chief
enforces.
Expedited, he forced this mandatory vote.
Right, which is in a certain section of the
Constitution.
Constitution.
He had already gone through 2 that day.
Right, it's just like, how short are these governors' reigns? Like a week or something. It's insane. So this all looks like it takes place in a day. So...
I mean, I wish, this is not a bad way to deal with career politicians.
What career? You're living weak. I mean,
that's all they need, right? It should be like jury duty. It's like I have to go be the governor. Okay, well, all right, I did my week as the governor. I get to go now.
but not die. All right. So
unless they do a bad job.
So Perry's standing by him. She's in this super tight blue jumpsuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
No bra.
Leaves nothing to the imagination.
So you can tell when the AC is bumped and not.
Yeah. She's nipply in some scenes, and it's just she was, like it was said in one of the Doctor Who specials, she was there for the dads.
Yeah.
When she's running, it looks like she has 2 midgets under her shirt. I mean, it's just it's crazy.
You have to think that they're looking at the script and going, "Oh, there's a close-up. We better bump the thermostat on this one."
So, the governor, in his wonderfully noblesse oblige way,
noblesse oblige.
Noblesse oblige. The
French phrase.
Is that one word? It is French. No, it's 2 words.
Noblesse oblige.
Noblesse oblige. It means it basically means the obligations of the nobility, or more accurately, the superior capabilities of the nobility.
Do you have that's a good one.
Yeah, noblesse oblige.
Do you have a favorite French phrase? Uh-oh.
What's the classic? Voulez-vous coucher un soir and moi?
And what?
Will you go to bed with me?
Oh.
I don't think I said it quite right. But noblesse oblige is really good. Let the good times roll, although I can't remember the exact French saying, is a classic one. From Louisiana, there's one.
Yeah, because you have a lot of French influence in the French Cajun.
Oh, what is it? I'm too drunk. I can't think of it.
I'll say a few of mine while you think of yours.
Okay.
There's a lot to choose from. I like tête-à-tête, which is a French phrase that means like a powwow, like a one-on-one chat. Tête-à-tête.
Tête-à-tête.
Tête-à-tête, yeah. Tête-à-tête. Another one is
Ménage à trois.
Ménage à trois. Les Miserables.
The Miserable.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, I'm too drunk thinking at the moment.
I hate the musical, but like the live action non-musical. Not the one with something Russell
Crowe.
Yeah, not that one, but the one with Hugh Jackman. Oh,
Hugh Jackman
and
what's her face?
But the musical one was just awful. I hate it so much. Just I think of watching the musical and like the villain when he's know he's beat and he has this moral and duty sense and he's just having this worst like musical and he's singing to himself while he commits suicide. It's just, it ruins the whole scene.
Never seen that one.
Don't watch the musical. It's terrible.
I saw the one with you. I saw the one with
the only one.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, the only one you need to see.
And
because that one's great.
It had what's her face in it.
I don't remember who the girl is played by.
Oh, well, no. The one that died early on. She was in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
The actress died? Oh, the one that plays Venus?
Yes. Uma Thurman. So Uma Thurman's in that one. Huh?
You mean her character died?
Her character dies in the movie. But she... Thank you, Lissa! She dies really early in that movie, but I never thought any movie could make...
Spoiler!
I never thought any movie could make her look ugly.
Non-musical,
but
2008 release Les Miserables.
Yeah.
If you
16 years ago.
Pause the video, go watch it. Come on.
But that movie made her look ugly. It was weird. It was so odd. But yeah, she was good in it. She really was. But anyway, there's a French expression, a Creole expression. Le bon? No.
Le bon. The bun.
No, but what it means is a little bit
bon
extra.
With? B-O-N? Does that mean with in French? Bon?
Bon means good.
Good. Oh, yeah.
Très bon.
Bon appetit. Good appetite.
Right, good appetite. Très bon. Very good.
Très bon.
I'm almost too drunk to remember this, but basically it means a little bit extra.
A little bit more.
So it's like no. You go in and
they're
you
grinding the mozzarella, and you're like le bon. Le bon.
It's not the expression I'm talking about.
Oh.
But no. But it means a little bit extra. It's like the 13th donut in the baker's dozen. I buy 12, I get a 13th for free.
Yeah.
So I do this, and I get a little bit extra on the side for free.
This isn't at all related, but for some reason, the mozzarella reminds me. It's Italian. The Italian phrase for "I'm hungry" translates literally into "feed me, I'm starving." I think it's sono affamato. It's like
I'm starving.
How do you say that I'm hungry in Italian? I'm starving. I'm about to die of hunger. Like that's the literal translation.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the doctor and Jandar are not hung.
They're hung, but they're not hanging.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay. So anyway, they get out, and it turns out that at this point, the doctor escapes with Jandar and Aretta, and they're running out and trying to get through the maze and all that. The punishment dome. You're looking to see how much time and juice we have left.
Yeah, we're on the last
bar
of the battery.
So
I was hoping there'd be like it'd show us how long we've been filming for.
No,
but it's
sorry, this is a little longer one. So anyway, they get out and they run, and they're in the punishment dome, and they run into all of these. First of all, they run into a couple cannibals.
Yeah,
and the cannibals are trying to kill them.
Like one of them fits the build of a cannibal. He's kind of emaciated.
And the other one's got a little bit of.
Yeah, the other one's got like this beer belly, and you're like, I'm not buying
it. But it's a couple of older guys in loincloths.
It's like if I was a cannibal, you'd be like, Are you sure? You're not cheating on that diet? You could have McDonald's.
So they run into these tendrils, which are all poisonous. And the doctor leads them through very carefully. In the meantime, the governor is giving himself up to the vote as to whether or not people agree with him. They disagree, and he's being shot, and he probably can't survive this. But he had talked previously to Mandrel or Maldek.
Yeah.
Talked to Maldek, said, look, let the girl go. Let Perry go. And Maldek's like, I can't. He says, okay. If you can't do that, then can you please turn away and let us both go? He's like, no, I can't. And
he's like, at least
like
shoot her to put her out.
Right,
of her misery.
Shoot her, put her out of her misery while they're killing us. He's like, he doesn't say anything. And so the governor goes back. He's like, I tried, but while he's being hit by this beam that's killing him, he decries the entire setup of their government. Mm-hmm. He decries how they're selling everything to Syl for so little.
Yeah.
He decries how their whole planet is dying while this whole setup is so bad. And finally it gets to Mandrip. And what's his name? Maldek?
Mandrip. It's Mandrip now. Maldek.
Maldek.
I
Maldek. And Maldek shoots the beam that's coming out and destroying him. So it sets him free. So Maldek, the governor, and Perry go and they're trying to get into the punishment dome down to the end game where the doctor and the others are.
Can we book club a little bit about Maldek?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Maldek's really only half a character, and the other half of his character is Rondell. And I feel like the two characters put together kind of fulfill this trope of good prevailing over the long game, right? It's always the midpoint where it feels like evil's going to win because it strikes down the protagonist, but then it's like, if you strike me down now, I'll be stronger, I'll come back stronger than ever before. So you see Rondell's the first one to where he's dealing with these conflicts of morality and duty and responsibility, and those are two conflicting, and then the morality wins out when he realizes that his duty is immoral and wrong, and he turns against the system and is helping his friends, but he dies, and you're like, oh no, that's a big setback for the good guys, and it looks like evil's prevailing, and then you have the good character come back through another person, and that's Maldek, and he's the second person to go against the system and turn against the spokes and really become, choose morality over his duty.
Yeah.
It's just it's a small thing, but the whole trope. I feel like
that. I do like that.
It went together really well. I feel like it was subtle, but they did a good job, and you see these eternal conflicts, and it's something that you can't really write into the script, into dialogue. It's just something you have to say, convey this on your face as best you can.
Which does happen a lot.
And some people are really great at doing that, and some people are like
horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
So they sneak into the air ducts, and they're trying to catch up with the doctor and them. In the meantime, the doctor's in this whole thing of these horribly poisonous tendrils which will kill anything. The cannibals come up. One of them gets hit and dies. The other cannibal drags him off, I guess, to eat him. So the doctor...
The chubbier one was the one
that
drug his friend off to eat him.
Sure.
He's like, I want food, and my friend's dead.
There's food. Yeah, thank you very much. So the doctor and the rebels are going through that, and in the meantime, Syl has told the chief and Quilliam, prove that you are, because they're like, we're still the power on this planet. And he goes, prove it. They head off with 2 guards, and they go in there to find the doctor and everybody, because Syl wants them dead. But these plants that will kill on sight, the doctor has Jandar.
Yeah, Jandar.
Jandar
set up
with a string, and then
pull loose their vines, and they grow like that,
right?
And then
so
they
then
grow tendrils, and
right.
But you can pull the vine off the wall, and
so then Quilliam and the chief show up with their 2 guards.
It's another
on the one cart.
The doctor's setting up another deathly booby trap that he knows is going to kill these people.
Yep. And
he couldn't care less about it.
Right, so they come up and they're like, oh, we have to kill you, but we have to kill you for the cameras, and it's bad. And the doctor's like, pull, and Jandar pulls a string, the vines come down and kill all 4 of them. Quilliam's dead, the chief is dead, the 2 guards are dead.
What I wish is that a companion like Leela would have been with Colin Baker, and instead of being like, oh no, Leela, don't kill people with the Janus thorns, you'd just be like, hey, go at it.
Well, this doctor was like, kill them all. We got the trap here.
Could you imagine like what one of those companions could do in that spotlight? The doctor actually aids them in their weird,
like he does here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the doctor and Jandus and Areta get back and
Georgia.
Yeah, they go back and they meet up with Perry and the governor and Maldek, and they're like, "Oh, yay, we're good. Okay, cool. Everyone else is dead. Let's go back to command center." Yeah. And they're still like freaking out. He thinks he's gonna be the emperor of the planet because the invasion force is coming, the colonization force, and then he's like, "Oh, colonization force is coming." The governor goes and he reads the stuff on the screen. He says, "Oh, wait a minute. They just found Zaton 7 on an asteroid, and the invasion force has been called off, but give them whatever price they want because we still need it in abundance." And so like, ah! And the governor goes, "How about 20? So like,
which I feel like is low. It's barely more than double what you're asking for. You'll find out
a lot more.
Zeta is criminally undervalued for what its actual worth is.
Yeah.
They're being exploited. It's like, well, I can barely negotiate. I can't even negotiate a 7 per unit. And then he realizes, oh, it's much more valuable. And this people they're about to invade, instead they gave the green light to pay whatever price for it, and he goes 20. It's just, I feel like very conservative as an opening into the negotiation.
So still freaks out. The doctor and Perry leave, and still freaking out. "Don't leave me!" And that's basically the end of the episode.
It's like, I'm buying this from you for $10, but then you find out it's worth $100, and you're like,
30.
$20. $20.
So
and I'm like, yeah, okay.
So the governor gives all the doctor all the Zytron 7 he needs. He fixes the TARDIS. We're good to go.
And then something about cuttlefish.
Well, because she kind of turned into a bird for a bit, and that's what he was talking about.
I don't get it.
Well, don't you go after these fish because you were a bird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of get it. It's kind of silly.
Do you have any questions?
So we talked about the very dark nature that this
doctor
is continuing to trend towards, with it opening on a torture scene, the Dome of Punishment. We talked about the doctor jettisoning 3/4 of the storage hold on the TARDIS, and who knows what was in there.
Correct.
A lot of the TARDIS is just getting shot out to who knows what. That's what kind of makes me wonder about like the other mediums of like the Doctor Who comic books, and maybe they explore some of these other facets of the TARDIS that we never get to see in the.
No, not canon. Don't worry about it.
Oh, it's not canon.
Well, not my canon.
Not to you. That's the only canon I care about.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually.
We talked about the bonus scenes and the screen clippings. We also talked about how the defeatist nature of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And how easily he gives up. And then we talked about the Doctor prefers British pronunciations.
Yes.
Now did we ever really talk about the other space-time crafts that referenced when talking about Zeta?
No.
So if it's being referenced that there are other space-time crafts.
We talked briefly about it, like Zeta. The Daleks made one.
So why is it that what Perry is saying is so unbelievable to the governor when she's
because
talking about
he does not know about these things. He thinks that their ore is nearly worthless.
And they explain that?
Because
I feel like they didn't do a good job of
it's all inferred, but Galatron has made them believe it was nearly worthless when it was very valuable. It's like me buying diamonds from you for $5 a diamond, and I'm selling them for $500 a diamond.
Whoa!
Because I've convinced you that they're just crap, you know. It's that kind
They're
of
worth how much? 500? Okay, I'm gonna have to ask for $20 instead of $10. We talked about my favorite scene, the dark comedic acid pit.
Yep.
The doctors killing people. We talked about the space Catholics. And Perry's transformation, yada yada yada, Dark World dystopias. Yeah.
On the end of the serial, the governor goes on and says, "Yeah, this is what we're doing, and we're now free. Well, we were making money, we're going to be free." And the couple are like, "Free? What do we do now?" "I don't know."
Did I ever say what species Syl is? He's like a little miniature.
No, they never say what species.
Star Wars hut.
No, he's like a grub, but they never say what species.
So I think we've covered all of my questions except for one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess what question that is?
No.
Do we ever see Syl again?
Yes, twice.
What?
Once in the main show.
Twice.
Once in the main show, and once in the third-party stuff.
So he's going on the board. He's a recurring.
He will go
character.
on the board as a recurring villain. Yes.
A villain.
Yes.
All right.
We will see him next season in the in this Doctor's stuff next season.
It's crazy. I
23rd season.
I ask that same question like every single podcast, and every time it's a no. So every time
But
when you say yes, I get so hyped.
We do see Syl again.
You're like, actually, we do. Whoa! What? This is crazy. We haven't found a recurring villain in the past 15 episodes.
No. We got Lytton.
Lytton, yeah, that's true.
We did get Lytton.
Lytton was supposed to be a companion.
No.
Didn't he go in the TARDIS?
No, he was a bad guy, but he had a redemption arc, and I loved it. But he showed up twice, so he's good enough to get a Heroes and Villains.
He did have his. I don't know if there's any redeeming one.
There was a redemption arc for him.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss that on the Heroes and Villains episode.
Heroes and Villains. So stay tuned for Heroes and Villains.
See you next week when we will do
something of the
Mark
Ronnie.
of the Ronnie.
Mark of the Macaroni.
Mark of the Ronnie, and it will be on a weird random day, because not Monday, because I'll be in New Orleans for the game.
Yeah. Safe
and
travels.
hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday, or something.
Go.
Wait, what?
I said Go Saints, but with the not G-O.
Geaux. Yeah.
UX.
Go Saints. Yay, win the division. Awesome.
Alright, so that's all my questions. I think we've covered all the Doctor Who news. Mm-hmm. Anything else we need to cover before we go?
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Yay! We're back. You're back. New year 2024. Thank you.